Hello, my name is Teresa McCaskill, and I received my doctorate from the University of Edinburgh, that's Wheaton College, in 2019. And I live in Central Florida and work as an independent researcher. I'm now working on my second book.
Dr. Teresa McCaskill. Teresa, good to see you. Welcome to Exegetically Speaking.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. You went to University of Edinburgh, which is one of my favorite places in the world.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a wonderful city, and we're glad to be together. Now, today we're together in Oxford because in Yarnton, which is our project from the Linear Theological Library down in Oxford, and we're at a wonderful, wonderful manor house built in 1611. And
that's right.
we're doing a conference on the parousia, the second coming of Jesus, and particularly the pastoral side of that. We'll say more about that, I'm sure, in another podcast. But at any rate, for now, tell us how you got started reading Greek.
Well, it was kind of a last-minute decision. I began my master's. I have two masters. The first one, it took me about 12 years to finish it. And I was doing a class at a time. Yeah. And my very last class was the beginning Greek course. And they called it...
That was your last class?
That was my very last class. Okay. It was a Greek boot camp. That's what they used to call it. It was a 3-week class at the end of the summer, and we went every day, all day. And I don't think I slept. I probably slept about 10 hours during those 3 weeks, trying to memorize all the paradigms.
Yeah.
But it was very much worth it, and I'm so glad I was able to get started that way.
Yeah. But you continue now to use it when you got your PhD. I mean, you continue to do the work.
Yes.
And you have to get pretty proficient at a language in order to get the work done to do the PhD.
Right. You definitely want that foundation. You can't just work off a translation. You need to know exactly, or as much as you can, know what the original language was about, what they're really trying to say.
And we need that for a variety of reasons, because there are nuances that you can get in the original that you don't get when you read a translation.
That's exactly right.
To wit, we're going to talk about Romans today, 12 verses 6 to 8.
Right.
So what's going on in this passage?
Okay, so it's basically just a list of gifts. There's not a lot. I didn't find a lot of exegetical problems or controversies there. I think the thing that I can draw from this is what I found to be the most valuable is I was able to take each word and not, obviously parse it and know the structure of the sentence and where it fit in the sentence. But I was also able to dig deeper into each word. So my approach was I began with BDAG, just looking at different uses of it in the New
Bauer,
Testament.
Arndt, Gingrich, and Docker.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. The shorthand for everybody, BDAG, yes.
And then I moved on to LSJ, which I can't remember those guys' names.
Oh, LSJ. Oh, okay.
Little Scott and...
Jay. Jeremiah. Well, I don't know what to say, Jeremiah. No, but Liddell and Scott is a standard.
Right. And that broadened things out, so I was looking more at the Greco-Roman culture. But then I took it even further, and I went to the Perseus catalog. It's perseus.com.
Oh, yeah, it's a great resource.
It was for me because I was trying
I think it was Tufts University.
Yes,
do that? Yeah,
yes.
Tufts University.
What a gift to the world.
Right.
And because Paul does not provide much information about these gifts in this list, it's very terse. It's and just for example, a diakonia, it's just diakonion, ente diakonia. So you're not really going to find much information in that short little phrase.
He's not describing the gift or what it does.
Right. So you see translations like ministry in the ministry. Which kind of doesn't really...
Literally, that's sort of what it means. Right. It's not helpful.
Right. It doesn't really give us much information. So I really enjoyed just looking at diakonia and diakonos in the Greco-Roman culture. And I zeroed in on how they were used within divine-human relations. So I did a search for those words in Perseus and was able to read many examples of the diak word group in Epictetus, Pausanias, Plutarch, Cornutus, Homer. And it opened up a whole new world for me to understand how diakonia was used in the first century, in the people who originally received these gifts. They knew more about that idea than we would know,
right, because
of how it was used in their world. And what I found as I looked at, we know about diakonia later on. It was kind of translated as humble servant, and eventually became deacon, so an office in the church. So when I was looking at the diak language, I focused on the instances in these authors, and I was able to how they were used in relationship with divine relations. The diakonos was not just a servant, but more of a go-between. And I found a connection with Hermes, the god Hermes, who was called the diakonos and also the diakteros. And this is a god, son of Zeus, who basically his role was to do whatever Zeus told him to do. So there's kind of a general sense of it is being a servant, but it's more than that. It depends on what you're asked to do. So you could be a messenger. You could be, and Hermes was that often, a messenger, a go-between, an envoy, a herald. And it gave the gift a more communicative aspect, which I don't think we see in the church as we talk about diakonia and diakonos. We think more of a menial labor or deacon, those things. So this opened up a whole new world for me, and I never would have gotten it if I hadn't looked into the Greek and dug deep into how the word was used in the culture, and it really did pay off for me.
Well, you wrote this up in a dissertation, I take it?
I did, yes.
Okay, and has that dissertation been published?
It has.
Okay, and if we wanted to find it, where could we find it? What's the title?
The title is Gifts and Ritual, the Charismata in Romans 6-8 in Roman Religion.
Okay. Who published that?
That's published by Lexington.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's two words, Lexington Fortress Academic.
Lexington Fortress Academic. Okay. Terrific. Well, that's available in the United States, and we'll have a copy of that sent over from the States to Yarnton, so it'll be part of the Yarnton Library.
Well,
it's a
be
really
an
interesting insight, a different way of looking at it. When we look at it just from an English translation, we don't get all those little bits and pieces, do we?
Not at all.
But it's filled out, and it's the kind of thing that becomes, with language goes a kind of a worldview, a mindset.
That's right.
And that's what we have to kind of get back into.
That's right.
If we want to take these letters of Paul, our Gospels, seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
Dr. Teresa McCaskill, thanks for being with us today on Exegetically Speaking.
My pleasure.
I just met Dr. Teresa McCaskill and must say I'm impressed with her insights. You too can develop insights like hers. Just pick up the mantle, head over to wheaton.edu and find out how you too can take advantage of the undergraduate and graduate programs. There are easy links in the show notes. There are even options at the graduate level for online courses. Thanks to our Wheaton-based team. They help us produce this podcast. Thanks to Phil Keggy for our music. Until next time, I'm David Capes. Thank you for listening.